We got there in the end, Soph. Man United 2, Norwich City 1. 120 minutes of football.
It felt longer. It felt a lot longer than that.
Hearts in mouth. It looked like one of them games that had penalties written all over it and a Tim Krul masterclass incoming. Luckily, Captain Maguire, Captain Fantastic, Harry Beckenbauer, as Saeed would say, to the rescue. Why were we so poor?
I just think, obviously, we made a lot of changes beforehand. And it just didn't gel, man. These are a lot of players who you're putting in to obviously try and transform the game, trying to prove a point, trying to break into the first team. And you have to be honest and say, did any of those players take their chances today? No, I don't think they did. I think Boye is probably the one. I think he looked dodgy at the start when he stood on the ball. He looked a bit shaky, and I think he kind of grew into the game. But the rest of the players who were given a chance today, I think it was disappointing.
Is it a case of some people are saying, look, this is what happens when Ollie doesn't have his best players. He's not a good tactician. He just needs all the top-notch players. Another side to the argument that is, well, of course you need your best team out to get the best results. And the other side of the argument also is that actually Ollie's team, apart from his first 11, seems to be, from the evidence, not very good. Not much quality. And also they don't complement each other. So I don't think Mata is completely washed and finished. I just think if you play him with the likes of a Jesse Lingard and a Nagalo who isn't going to have a lot of movement, then McTominay and Fred, who aren't going to, maybe dominate the game in terms of possession like a Matic and Pogba maybe would. Yeah. I just feel like maybe he might get alienated. Obviously, Lingard was poor, but I just think there's a case that Solskjaer could be like, actually, guys, can you see what I'm working with my second string team? Dalot poor. What do you think of that argument?
I completely agree. I think you can't really blame Ollie for making changes. We know we're in a hectic schedule. It'd be gutted if you put Pogba out there today to start, for example, and he gets injured and he's out for the league game. So you understand him making the changes. I think it just highlights the lack of squad depth that we have, the lack of quality we've got beyond the first 11. You look at teams like Liverpool and City, they've got good quality to bring on. You look at our bench, and I think today it really shown that we've got players who, if someone gets injured, we're choosing players to step up who aren't good enough. And I think that today it just really proved that. I think obviously the changes, Pogba came on, he played a great pass for the goal, obviously the winner. And I think Martial looked sharp when he came on as well. But I just think players like Jesse Lingard, don't get me wrong, he's low on confidence, I understand that. But today was a big chance for them to try and step up and try and prove themselves. And no players really took that.
Has he, I mean, you mentioned Lingard there at the back end of what you were saying there. Is he done at Manchester United? So, like, is it finished for him? Is there any way back for him? Does he need to leave? Does this prove why, along with a string of other performances, that he's had in the last couple of years, why he's maybe up?
I don't think today proves it. I think, like you said, there's been a long period of time now where Jesse hasn't been up to it, hasn't been good enough. I think today there's a lot of players, Bruno included, who I just don't think were up to scratch today. I think he looked tired, to be honest with you. I think Bruno looked a bit leggy today. But we're saying that he didn't have a good game, and he still had the highest pass contribution in the final third, more shots than any other player, more dribbles. Yeah, I was going to say half of them ended up in red, but still he's trying to make something happen. Do you know what I mean? And you kind of give him a bit of slack. He's been the player who's been magic since he's joined United. Every player we know has an off game, and that's what I mean about Jesse Lingard. I think don't judge him after this game, but after this long break, he's been given a chance today. He hasn't took it. He needs to be taking the next one, because seriously, like, Ollie's going to be looking at players to replace our first 11, and at the moment he hasn't got a lot of choice. Angel Gomez was missed out as well today. I think he's another one who needs to be mentioned, because obviously a lot of people think that he should be getting more game time. There's an issue with his contract going on. I just don't think he looks good.
Well, and Mark was saying it on a different show as well, and a lot of people do say it, which is the fact that you brought Gomez into it there. Chong wasn't involved as well after signing his contract. You look at the likes of Mata, who had a poor game today. You look at Jesse, who had a poor game. You look at Andreas, who doesn't get much opportunity now, but has been playing poorly. And you think, how could someone like Gomez then not even be given an opportunity to? Because he surely can't do any worse than what's been going on before Bruno came.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't look positive. There's obviously something that's broken down in the background that we don't know about as fans. But Gomez, I think if we're real about it, I think he would have already signed his deal by now if he was going to sign it. And I just think that he's one of the players that we might let slip. And I don't want to let him go, because I think he's so talented. And I would rather see him getting more of a game time than Jesse Lingard or Mata in a game like today, because I think he needs the game time more. They've had their chance. And like I've already heard Mark say, Mata is not getting any younger. And he struggles to play anyway a full 90 minutes at this point in time. So why aren't we giving the younger players something to build on? I think that they're losing out on time because we've been showing too much loyalty. I think the players like Mata and Lingard, I think that we need to just drop them and give people like Chong a chance, because Chong, he's had the odd game and I think he showed progress. We've said that he needs to get stronger, but he's not going to progress unless he's getting ahead of the likes of Lingard.
I agree. In terms of moving forward though, Soph, we all want to see us compete, the best we can for the remaining competitions we're in. We'd love to see us win the FA Cup. Obviously, we'd love to see us win Europa League, but we are trying to basically prioritise fourth spot. We don't want to have to rely on a Europa League final to get top four, to get Champions League, but it might come to that if we don't do it. It's always nice to win a cup, especially in Ollie's first season as full manager. It would be great to get to Wembley and win it. But how much of a concern is it that actually, no, not how much of a concern. What do we do going forward in terms of playing this amount of games, considering the fact that when we start dipping into our pot and making changes, not for the first time this season, it doesn't work?
It's funny that it's like a headache that I've said. Obviously, you look at the midfield, then we've got the likes of Matic, McTominay, Fred as well. I think Fred was a bit of a mixed bag today. I think he made some decent interceptions, but gave the ball away a lot. I think I think he made a few interceptions, but then the quality on the ball just wasn't good enough. I think Matic came on. I think he kept it simple, like we said the other day, and I think he made a difference. But I think when you look at across the board, the squad depth isn't good enough. But at the same time, we haven't got a lot of players. We can't overplay players. We see what happens. We don't want the likes of Bruno or Pogba getting injured. So I think we've still got to rotate, and we've got to put trust in these players and hope that they try and take their chances. But I don't put any of the onus on Ollie, really. Do you think
that as a result of what you just said there, when it's like you can't play every player in every game of the first team, we have to kind of rely on the second string or players who aren't playing as much. Do you think that as a result of that, we might lose out on something?
Look, we've got to try.
Whether it's the Europa League, whether it's fourth or what, run out of gas in one of the competitions.
That's a possibility, of course it is. But I think as a United player and as a United coach, you've got to go out and try and win everything. Of course, it's hard, but you've got to try and win everything. Anything that you're left in, you've got to go for the win. And like you say, Champions League is priority. But for me right now, I'm just saying go all out for everything. I know we've got to rotate the squad, but like I say, Ollie has to put some trust in his players. And we've got to get some performances at some point. Lingard, there's definitely a player in there, no doubt about it. But he's low on confidence at the minute, and that's where we need someone to put an arm around him and try and get the best out of him. But I think with Bruno and Pogba in there, they're good enough to get the best out of any player. So hopefully we can get a bit more from Jesse Lingard. Mata, I think, like we say, his legs are going a bit now. I hate to say it because I love the guy, but I just don't think he's fit enough now really to compete.
Yeah, the thing is about Mata, so lastly, is like I think it's weird because I still think as a footballer, he's streets ahead.
Up here, he's got an extra yard in his head. Yeah,
he's streets ahead of an Andreas. He's streets ahead of Jesse. And if you play him in the right team with the better players, I still think you get something out of Mata. If Bruno needed a day off and you put Mata in a 10, but on one side you've got Greenwood and the other side you've got Rashford and you still got Martial, Mata can create chances. Mata can link up. Mata can make things happen. Or if you play him centrally, maybe with a Bruno or something coming off the sides, it can happen. But I think it didn't. The changes that were made today, you look at Dalot and Mata on the right-hand side, nah. You look at Lingard on one side, Mata on one side, nah. Yeah. It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work. And that's for the majority of his career. He's been forced out into that position. He hasn't played in the 10, which is obviously his best position. And I feel for Mata in that sense. So that's what I mean. As a right winger, for me, he shouldn't be competing for that spot. He's just not got the legs to do that. He drifts inside, and then we lack width anyway. And I think Dalot was really poor today. I really do. And he was one of the players I was excited to see. I thought he's got a chance. He's going to take it. It's good mates with Bruno. He'll enjoy playing on the same pitch as him. And it was really sloppy and he didn't look good enough. And I hate to say it because this was a massive opportunity. But again, he just failed to take it.
Yeah. Who's your man of the match for you guys, Soph?
I think Maguire, to be honest. He made a great block in the first half. Obviously scored the winner. It's hard to pick from that bunch, to be fair. Pogba's come on and had a great contribution as well. But I think it was just one of them games today where we just didn't create much. We were sloppy, we looked lethargic. But again, there's a lot of games in a small spell of time. I think Bruno looked really tired and we obviously turned into him. He's one of our main guys now. And when he performs, we perform. He didn't perform today. You have to be honest and say that. But does that mean that he deserves the slander and stuff that I've been seeing on Twitter? Of course he doesn't. Everyone is entitled to an off game. It's more about how you react from it. And even at the end, you saw him chasing back in his own half. That's what I love about him. He's having a bad game, but he's still putting himself about. He's not hiding. He wants the ball. So, yeah, I think just keep staying positive. But Maguire, I think, just tips it as my man of the match.
So, we've got Brighton midweek. I will see you then.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again for having me on. Take care.
All right, no problem. See you later.
See ya.